Just a minute. When the wind is chilly, the weather seems so dry, I get myself to shaking. I remember the day that you caught my eye. You was walking by the river, dressed in purple, looking hot. When you turned to look at me, remember how I sighed? Janice! Janice Star, never leave me, keep inside. 'Cause every time I see ya, you invade my mind. Sometimes even goosebumps creep onto my arm. Oh, Janice, pretty Janice, don't stay too far. I recall going downtown, drinking beer, sipping wine, when you turned to look at me, oh pretty little one. Even at the movies, you made me feel alright. Rubbing looks together, holding hands so tight. Janice! Janice Star, never leave me, keep inside. 'Cause every time I see ya, you invade my mind. I write silly love poems, talking about our love. Oh, Janice, pretty Janice, don't stay too far. You know that I love you. You know that I care. Just keep looking like a beauty, loving me like that. I'll be happy, very happy. My one, my only Janice Star.
You're the director of the show. What are you doing on stage, on center stage?
I thought we had 5 minutes.
We talked about this. Can we acknowledge the director of Boulder tonight? I'd like to welcome you all to the variety talk show. Boulder tonight, we have 3 wonderful guest artists who you will meet, who will perform for you tonight. And something I'd like to point out about our guest artists that may not be so clear from our announcement materials. They are all producers of shows. They're not only artists and wonderful in their crafts, in their art, they produce shows. So I would like to point out to any artist or anyone who thinks about making art, maybe you're not only an artist, maybe you're a show producer or a co-producer or a booking person. And I will leave that there. Well, we are at the coffee stand, and thank you so much for being here. When you buy beverages and food here up front, you are supporting the show. So keep that in mind. If you have a bit of a thirst or a bit of an appetite, their food. I ordered something for myself. Delicious. So get yourself one of their pies with different fillings over there. And thank you so much for being here. And could we
fade out. Here on Boulder Tonight, the stage directions are announced through a microphone. Okay. Our first number. My mom had a friend, Lucille, maybe one of her oldest friends from high school or earlier, middle school, elementary school. Lucille would call my mom on the phone when she was upset. And I never heard Lucille's part of the conversation. I was in the kitchen where my mom was on a heavy black plastic AT&T phone, the kind with a rotary dial. That was the only kind of phone that existed at that time. She would be on the phone with Lucille in the kitchen, and I would hear her say, in fact, the whole house could hear my mom say, "Oh, Lucille, it's not that bad. Come on. We've lived through World War I and World War II and McCarthyism. We've lived through a Great Depression. Oh, Lucille, come on. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It'll be okay. We've lived through worse. Oh, Lucille, take a deep breath. Calm down, Lucille. It's not that bad." And here I am. The year is 2024. And some of you may have experienced, oh, I don't know, maybe an election day. And I find myself full of fear, a bit of adrenaline, that fight or flight with no place to go. And the TV and the headlines and the commentators remind me of my powerlessness. And I think of my mom talking to Lucille. "Oh, Lucille, it's not that bad. We've lived through worse." And suddenly in November of 2024, decades after those phone conversations in a kitchen in a house in Brooklyn, New York, I find myself being Lucille. And I hear my mom's words, "Oh, come on. It's not that bad. Oh, come on, Lucille. Come on. It'll be okay." Thank you. And with that piece, I got to invite our first guest artist, and Will Baumgartner. Now I wish I had said your name 10 times before. So I'd like to introduce Will Baumgartner, who is the leader and founder of a band that's been playing for more than a few days. It's been like 17 years? No. 13 years. Okay. I didn't mean to exaggerate the introduction. Oh, 14 years. 14 years. Oh, okay. Well, what would you like to do? May I invite you to do whatever you'd like to do?
Yes.
Yeah. Please help me welcome our first guest artist, Will Baumgarten.
Hey. So when Hector was up here, I was like, oh, I should do a Janis Joplin song. Been obsessed with Janis Joplin since I was 10 years old. But anyway, I'm not going to do a Janis Joplin song because I did not prepare a Janis Joplin song. I hardly prepared for this at all, but I will try to invoke the spirit of Janis through the two songs that I'm going to do. I just feel crowded by this microphone. It was down at old Joe's barroom on the corner by the square. The regular crowd was assembled, and Big Joe McKinney was there. He stood so tall before us. His eyes were bloodshot red. He raised his arms, the crowd fell quiet. And this is what he said. I went down to that St. James Infirmary, and I saw my baby there, stretched out on a table, so pale, so cold, so fair. Let her go, let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this whole wide world over. She'll never find another man like me. die, I want you to bury me in a John B. Stetson hat. Put a $20 piece on my watch chain so they'll know that I died standing pat. I want 6 crap shooters to carry my coffin, 6 chorus girls to sing me a song, put a jazz band on my hearse wagon so we can raise hell as we roll along. Let her go, God bless her, wherever she may be. She can search this old wide world over, or she'll never find another man like me.
Let's sit and talk about.
Oh, and then can I do another song?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, for sure. So we have this elegant corner for conversation. Thank you, Matt Clifford of Black Market Translation, punk rock fusion band and house band over tonight. And thank you, Will. That was amazing. I feel as though you use every ounce of your body and every minute of your life. And am I somewhat correct in how you make that sound?
I guess so.
Well, when did you know that music was your passion? How early, or was there a particular aha moment?
So I've been playing music since I was like 5. I guess the first time that I performed, and first time I performed, well, actually the first time I performed was like in a talent show, you know, like, and I sang 409 by the Beach Boys.
She's real fine, that 409.
Save my pennies and save my dimes. Giddy up, 409. Forlorn they will come to that one.
Yeah.
I think I won that talent show, actually, or at least that's what I tell myself. But and yeah, so that was great. But the first time I knew that, like, oh, I want to be on stage, like I want to be, you know, rock star, whatever.
Yeah.
Was when I was, I guess, 13, and I had a friend who was sort of a 13-year-old rock star, and I played at a party. I played flute with his band at a party, and I was like, holy shit, this is like electrifying, like, you know, just letting whatever it is in me come through this instrument and you know,
and reach that audience.
And to feel it, and to feel that, yeah, like sort of, yeah,
connection.
That watery kind of flow back kind of thing, you know?
Whoa, I love that you said watery. I mean, so you had a very clear sensory perception of that moment.
Yeah.
That changed your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Do you remember the name of the band that they were?
I do still love that guy.
Well, he was the 13-year-old rock star that invited you to play with the band.
Yeah.
Well, let's all quietly thank Glenn for what he did for bringing you here to this moment to share your amazing artistry.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Could we go to another maybe I don't know, landmark moment? I mean, that particular thing you described, I kind of can feel the watery feelings of impact, and the whole body is affected. And we don't have several months to cover your life, so what would be well, do we jump to the Pamlico sound or some of the
Pamlico.
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 Pamlico. Oh, thank you for correcting me.
Such a sore spot for me, but anyway, it's my fault for naming the band.
Pamlico.
Yes.
Pamlico. So the accent is on the first syllable.
Yes, and it's not leak, it's lick.
Boy, how many? We're finding out how many ways I can mispronounce the three-syllable word. Yes. Oh, okay. Pamlico. Correct me again. Go.
The Pamlico Sound is a lagoon on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, where I'm from. The Outer Banks is, in geographical terms, it's a barrier island. So it is separated, it's a stretch of beach that are beaches that's separated from the mainland by a couple of inlets and then a series of lagoons. There's the Albemarle Sound, the Pamlico Sound, et cetera, et cetera. It's funny, I've been watching Black Sails, and I always knew that Blackbeard actually was stationed on the Outer Banks, Blackbeard the pirate. But last night I watched an episode where he was on Ocracoke Island, and I was like, wow, this is like giving me chills. But yeah, spent school years in Binghamton, New York, where my dad was a professor of English literature at Harper College, which is now, I guess, called
SUNY Binghamton.
Well, it was called SUNY Binghamton for a while, and now I think they've changed the name again. But anyway, but my mother was a native North Carolinian who had inherited the cottage in Nags Head from her aunt, and I was a July baby, so I was born there. And I consider myself definitely, I am a North Carolinian. I am definitely from North Carolina. And when I was a kid, there was the #1 night spot on the beach was directly across the street from our cottage. It was a place called the Casino. It wasn't a casino. It was downstairs was pinball and pool, and upstairs was the dance hall.
And was there a live band?
Some legends. Louis Armstrong. In fact, I just covered St. James Infirmary. Louis Armstrong played at the casino. I mean, legends played at the casino. And when I was a kid, you had to be 16 to go upstairs at the casino, and I was not old enough yet. Funk and soul I remember people saying you're either psychedelic or you're soul. And that at that time in the 70s. I was somewhat psychedelic, but I was definitely very funk and soul, and I would be in bed and I'd hear the music coming from across the street, and I would dream about not only being able to go upstairs and dance at the casino, but being able to go upstairs and be on stage at the casino. So the name the Pamlico Sound sitting right over there, and Jockey's Ridge is there, the sand dunes, and the name the Pamlico Sound is very connected to. It's a story I have to tell for people to know.
It's an integral part of your life.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, did you become old enough, 16 and later, to play?
I never played on the stage at the casino. They shut it down, I think in the 80s, and yeah, too bad.
But that casino gave you a vision of where and how you'd like to play. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the greats, as you just said, play there, and I'm imagining, well, maybe a bit of cinema. I'm imagining the music coming across where you could hear it in your home where you grew up.
Yeah, this is fed my dreams. I would hear it at night as I was going to bed, and then I would dream.
It fed your dreams
Yeah.
with watery sensations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watery musical sensations.
Wow, wow. So tell me more. How did you come to the instruments that you play? I'm curious if you maybe played. Did you come through a zigzag path and then you found that these were the instruments, or how?
Yeah. So I started on violin. I was super young, and I've always said that I must have been born to be a musician, because one, there's not a musical bone in my family outside of me, and two, my first teacher was a dick. I mean, he was just an asshole. And so I started on violin, and I've always thought, well, if that guy didn't stop me, like he belittled me, he was just cruel. And I thought, if that guy didn't stop me, then I must have been born to do this. Played trumpet through grade school, picked up the flute and guitar in my late teens. I mean, not late teens, early teens. I guess I picked up the flute when I was like 11. Picked up guitar shortly after that, started writing songs at that point. And then picked up the saxophone in high school, and was already a songwriter and singer. Led a jazz band in Chapel Hill right after high school, moved to New York City and started my first band where I was like the front man, singer, songwriter, etc.
Wow, that's a very clear path. It sounds like. I mean, did you have any sort of side distractions as you? I don't know. Were your parents encouraging or family encouraging in this musical pursuit, or were they all the time saying you should be a doctor or a lawyer?
No, they were very encouraging. It's one of the things I love about my folks is that mom and dad were both very encouraging. And I also write fiction, and so I started writing poetry when I was about 11, about the same time that I started writing songs. And then I started writing fiction in like my sophomore year in high school. And my dad being a professor of English literature, I think that has something to do with that.
Right. So certainly, if you're writing lyrics, it may as well be literature. I think.
Right. Well, I actually write stories and novels. So I'm a fiction writer.
Oh.
I just haven't achieved anywhere near the success in that yet that I have in music.
So there are still frontiers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we might love to hear another musical piece.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks so much, Ira.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome, Will. Thank you for being here. And this we may talk a little more after your piece. We'll see. There's some spontaneity built into this whole tonight thing. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Let's hear it.
All right.
Can we have another round of applause?
Okay. Is it hot in here? Or is it just me? This is the song that inspired me to pick up the harmonica. I learned harmonica by taking walks on the beach and just playing the harmonica. Just playing, playing, and playing. But this is a song that inspired me to pick it up. This is Train Time by Cream. Jack Bruce, I hope I can just even come close. I mean, he probably picked up the harp. So Jack Bruce was John Mayall's, the Englishman John Mayall, had a band called the Blues Breakers, and John Mayall was an incredible harmonica player, and a bunch of people came through the Blues Breakers. There were a couple of bands in England where, like, you could do like this family tree where, like, Eric Clapton and Jeff Beck and all these people were in these bands. So I'm going to guess that Jack Bruce probably picked up the harmonica after hearing John Mayall play it. But anyway. Train time getting on down the track. Hear the train come click clack, click on home. I'm going home. Next time I leave this town, I ain't coming back no more. Get the train, know why I'm leaving. Take the train, and you know we keep forgetting the words right here. Next time I leave this town, I ain't coming back no more. I'm going home. I'm going home. Train time, baby. Train time, child.
I want to hear about the band engagements. What's coming up for you with the band, whose name I mispronounced?
That's okay. It's been the bane of my existence ever since naming the band. So I had the idea, let's name it after one of the lagoons, and I started thinking Albemarle sound, and that's so marble-mouthed that I thought Pamlico sound. Oh, that's great. And then everybody started saying Pamlico and emphasizing the wrong syllable and pronouncing the second syllable wrong. But my fault. So,
regardless of what we call the band, it's a 10 or 11 piece band with 3 singers and a brass section, and it's got so many moving parts. I wonder how you keep it together. together, keep yourself together.
So do I.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a labor of love. I was telling somebody earlier today. Oh yeah, I was talking to one of the singers, and I said, you know, you guys are like my kids. It's like I've never had kids, but I have always had a strong paternal instinct, but I don't have any kids. It's like now I got 10 fucking kids. and it is very much like that. It's very much like, you know, I gotta hold their hands. I gotta you know, sternly reprimand them and then say, you know, I love you. I'm just doing this because, you know, it's all that stuff.
So it's a family.
Yeah.
It's a community, and it probably has all of the heaven and hell effect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, does the music act as a kind of I don't know, like a smooth things out because we're all making art, or how does that help or
Yeah,
harm the?
There's so much more love of each other and love of what we're doing than there is stress and strain. So that's a very fortunate thing. I mean, we absolutely love what we do, and we absolutely all love each other. Just to the point where it's like just talking about them, I'm just like, oh, I love these people. You know? Yeah.
Well, that's fabulous. I mean, you created a 10 or 11 piece family out of the art that you love.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah. Can we all go? Can we all make a sound that comes from the heart? A sigh, a big breath.
And then, let's do something that we do on stage, because we have this theatrical concept called the Jive Church, and I'm the Reverend. Will be right back, and the women are the priestesses, and the guys are the deaconundrums, and we do call and response with the audience. And one of the things that I do is, can I get a fuck yeah from the congregation?
Fuck yeah!
Talk about.
Okay, and when can these people see your band and say "fuck yeah" in front of the band?
Funk yeah.
Oh, funk yeah. I keep mispronouncing things. I'm so.
So did we.
It's a family church.
It's a family funk yeah. My mind went to the gutter. I don't. Okay. But where can we see you with a band?
I want to tell you. So yeah, we got two big shows coming up. 3 weeks from tomorrow, Saturday, December 14th, we are at the Mercury. I'm sure, you know, with all the writers in this room, I mean, you guys know the Merc, right? Mercury Cafe in Denver. So we'll be upstairs in the ballroom at the Merc on Saturday, December 14th with 2MX2, who are amazing. They're a live hip hop band, sort of Latinx live hip hop band. They're incredible, and I'm so excited that we finally have put a show together with 2MX2. So that's Saturday, December 14th at the Merc. And then New Year's Eve, we are playing at the Aztlan Theater on Santa Fe in the Arts District in Denver. AZTLAN, Aztlan Theater, on New Year's Eve. And I'm gathering people, like this is a very late booking, just booked this. So I'm gathering, hopefully there's going to be one or two other amazing bands playing with us that night.
Fabulous. Yeah, that was well, wasn't it? So I think we'll call this a conversation. I hope, I enjoy saying to be continued, because Will and we don't know each other very long, but what I know of you, I just love, and it's fabulous that you could be here tonight. So thank you, Will.
Thanks so much, Ira.
Oh, you're so welcome. One more acknowledgement for the house and our house and night party. Okay, and before our next guest artist, will be Amy Herman, in just a moment. Could we do that switcheroo with the keyboard? I have a song for you all. Oh. A very generous musician is letting me use his table.
Always getting my chords confused, you know?
We are interactive here at Boulder tonight. Yeah, very quick. Waiter, may I have my sound chest, please? Can you hear piano and vocal?
What? Who said that?
Hopefully in a pleasing way.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, this is a cover of a song from the 1930s. Some of you who have been here before, I do write my own songs, and I just thought I would perform a song that I love, and maybe you will too. And here we go. You know how there are some relationships, are they blessings or curses? Are
to music by Bert Kalmer and Harry Ruby. The copyright is from 1931. So, yeah, some applause for the song. Can I have some transition music? Transition music, please. Yeah.
Let us transition. I'm
Black Market Translation. And it is my pleasure and honor to introduce our next guest artist, Amy Herman, who is a poet and a writer and a producer of variety shows. And actually, I'll bet Amy, you might have more concise descriptors of yourself. I attended, it could be 10 months ago, maybe a year ago, I attended one of your shows that Amy produced and hosted, emceed, and I was so impressed with how tight the show was and the various talent. It had an LGBTQ theme, and Amy kept the energy going in between the individual performers, and I thought I would like to learn more about this person. So please help me introduce Amy Herman.
Dear God, I've screamed out your name so many times during sex. I thought it might be best you got involved once in a while. And I know we're not on speaking terms right now, but you don't have to answer me back. It's just that every time I take my clothes off, I stop believing in you. I used to write you letters like Sealy in The Color Purple. Misspelled your name on purpose because I just wasn't ready for that intimacy. I never asked you for anything tangible. Nothing I could quite hold in my hands, more like removals. Dear God, can you make me disappear? I seem to be wrong, that's what the news keeps telling me. Dear God, can you hurricane this New Jersey suburb away and bring me somewhere better? Somewhere beyond strip malls and Applebee's? Dear God, I'm not reaching my milestones, says my mother. Can you deliver me something I can recognize on this body? Dear God, I just want to feel the way everyone around me does. I snort lines from Judy Blume novels, crushed up passages of what it is to be a girl, wanting boys, building breasts like architectural wonders. Dear God, I giggled. Dear God, I put on lip gloss with flavors like peachy keen, momentary hip sway. Dear God, I liked being a woman until all those men got involved. So I removed parts of myself before more men could get to the rest. Now, years later, I still don't know what I am here in this mountainous, spandex-coated land I now find myself in here, where bodies are taught and tamed, and mine seems so unruly, like a misbehaving teenager. They want to know the shape of my spiritual practice, what I believe in, where I go, what I consume to get closer to it. As a kid, I sat beside my father in synagogue, always waiting for the end. I am always waiting for the end of things. Maybe that is my religion, exits. I press my palms together towards closing time, towards cancellations, towards what may be birthed from the death of something. I like the taste of the word atheist. All those vowels swelling my tongue, but I do believe in some things. I believe bodies are maps, frayed edges and burnt spots, so you sometimes get lost, but they get you somewhere. And like this country, there are parts you should probably leave behind. I believe that Saturday has become my new favorite day because it is when I take prescribed eraser and plunge it into my belly, full and thick, to become what has been swallowed. I believe in poetry and the deliciousness of homemade pickles. I believe that my dog is cuter than yours, and that the process of aging is like removing everyone's eyesight. So suddenly, you are invisible to them. I believe libraries are churches, minus the trauma and inappropriate uses of power, but they can be a place to remain for as long as you need and just exist in your existence. I believe in free education for all. I believe in the postal service. I believe in magic and the moon and dictionaries and climate change. Dear God, do I have your attention? I'm not really one for formalities. I've never been very good at commitment. I don't like to abide by rules. I am messy and incongruent and deeply clumsy. I haven't read your book cover to cover, or really at all, because I never really believed it was yours. But I am trying to believe in something. I want to believe in what it could look like to remain after decades of walkaways and letting go of my Rolodex of regrets and just keep going. With or without the exact words of who I am and who I am becoming.
Thank you for that piece.
You're welcome.
It's funny. I say for that piece and piece and has different spellings. So Peace. Peace is in serenity and peace is in a piece of artwork. But it sounds like that came from a place of turmoil and searching and deep reflection. I wonder, was there a particular mood or situation that helped to bring that piece about?
Just being we live in is part of the birth juice of that.
Birth juice. Wow. I like these watery words. I don't know what I've discovered. These moist words. I won't dwell there. So the piece feels very much like a life story, a life journey. And though we do not know each other very well at all, I've had the impression or the feeling that identity has been a part of your journey. Could you speak on that? I heard bits of that identity when you described yourself as kind of a young person in school and the colors of lipstick, and then here you are now. And yeah, could you speak about identity and the search or the journey?
Sure. I think when you grow up in a place, in a society where you're told what you are, and you feel like, gosh, that doesn't feel right, but you're all telling me this, and I guess you must be right. And then you reach a point where you realize, oh wow, I can question these things, and these people around me can be wrong. And as a writer, that became the fuel for so many of my poems, because it's a way of navigating my insides and my outsides. And there's so much power, as we know, as writers and creatives, there's so much power. And like music, it's so powerful because you have the mic, or you have the paper, or you have the screen. So.
Or you have people's attention.
Or you have people's attention. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine, and I didn't know specifically. You're New Jersey or East Coast or New York area. Okay.
You still have your New Jersey license plate. Okay.
And the area code.
Why let go of a perfectly good area code and license plate?
Are you 908? 201. 201. Okay.
Classic. So, what I would imagine it could be an ongoing struggle. What was it like as a younger person? You can choose whatever the time frame, as a teenager or elementary school. When did you first experience that who you were was kind of in friction with what people told you were?
I think some of it was recognizing myself and other people. Like, I remember being on the subway once and seeing this human who I had no idea what their gender was, and I'm like, I like you. Oh my gosh, we can do this. And so some of it is just like finding the map of pieces that we start to recognize in others, or in music, or in film, or in books. And that I don't have many childhood memories, so it's hard for me to go back to childhood, but a lot of it was just finding spaces that allowed me to question myself, that encouraged me to question myself, I should say.
And I would gather you'll continue to question yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't really know ourselves fully until we die. It's just a constant, it's such a constant, and it's beautiful, and we should be encouraged that we don't have to be static, because that's not realistic.
And it's not our design.
No,
I mean,
definitely not.
we're made out of water. We're mostly water.
Earth juice.
Earth juice. Yeah, that salt water that we picked up from the ocean some millions of years ago. I don't remember which day, but
Yeah.
it's a while ago. So when did you know that you were a writer and or a performing artist? When did that come about?
I will say when I was a freshman in high school, I got to read a few of my poems at an assembly. And after I read my poetry, the guidance counselor, all the teachers were like, something's wrong with Amy. We need to call their parents. We're worried. And that's when I'm like, I like this. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So how did you? Well, maybe the questions I don't know are irrelevant in some way. You managed to navigate having these authority figures be alarmed by who you were and how you expressed yourself, and here you are. You thrived, you survived, but that would have some of us never go near an audience again, or just be quietly in the audience. Do you consider yourself courageous?
I think we're all courageous just by waking up every day. Yeah, we're all courageous.
Oh yeah, that's some acknowledgement on that. Yeah, it could feel that way. Yeah, that we face the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but what did you, well, you said you don't have a lot of childhood memories, but do you have any memories of standing up to someone say, don't say this, or don't feel that, or don't do it? How did you manage? What did you say?
I just kept talking. It's such an important lesson for all of us that, like, when somebody tells us to stop, unless it's like hate speech and that's not okay, but if we're saying something that we need to say for us or even for somebody else, no one should silence anyone. And so anyone who's trying to do that, they're the ones who should be pushed out. So for me, it's just been about anytime somebody's been uncomfortable with what I've had to say, or they're like, you shouldn't talk about that, it just makes me want to talk about it more.
Oh yeah, yeah. When did you start putting shows together? How did that come about?
Yeah, I guess probably New York. I've been going to open mics for as long as I could. And then when I moved to New York, I started, I was around so many different types of artists, and I wanted to help amplify and encourage their voices, so I ran open mics and variety shows. I did a erotica monthly open mic for years, and
I'm curious, what was the venue?
the Le Poisson Rouge. Yeah.
Wow.
And the
Was
one
you in the audience?
Yeah, but a lot of different venues, and in New York, similar, I guess, around here, and maybe everywhere, there were a lot of we'd have a venue, we'd be there, and then it would close, and we'd have to find another. Dixon Place as well, do you know that? Yeah, my
Is that on University?
Dixon Place is is like near Chinatown,
Oh, okay.
off Grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you put these shows together, can you speak of what you may have learned from the
Oh
show?
my gosh, it's like anytime you get to hear an artist, music, poetry, a storyteller, you learn so much about them, because even if they're not writing about something that relates to them, it's coming from them. So you get to glimpse their creativity, their imagination, their wildness. So I've always been inspired by other people. We all are. I mean, that's why we're here.
That's a human thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We humans, we connect.
Yes.
Well, when it does, it's good. Yeah. I sometimes realize I say stupid things. But if I nod my head, I can sort of cover up and move on. see you, even though, again, we don't, we know each other in, well, I say through the creative world, the community. Um, what visions might you have for our creative world or for the society in general? I mean, visions, optimistic visions.
I'm not really feeling optimistic these days, but but when I'm in spaces like this, I do feel. I don't know if the word optimistic is quite right. I feel encouraged. I feel alive. My hope is that whatever happens next year, that we still have spaces like this where we can be wild and free and queer and messy and political, and that our voices are not extinguished.
We will have them.
Yes, we will. We will. We will. We will because we're here. We're here.
We're here, we're alive, we're breathing, and we are artists, we make art. We'll keep making art,
Yes,
expressing ourselves. Do you have another piece you'd like to
I
share?
do. If you'd like, if that's okay.
That'd be lovely.
All right.
Of course that's
All
okay.
right. Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we go. Yes. Yes. All right. I don't want to make it hard on you. You've had a busy day and you work so fiercely to stay on top. You shouldn't have to look at me with lips so thin. If only I bit them more to swell their shape. Mouth always turned down. I should smile more so that you don't have to worry what I'm feeling. I don't want to make it hard on you. I take pliers you purchased with your higher paycheck and open my mouth wide, just like you like it. Remove teeth one at a time. Women should be used to pain, right? Women were born to push out humans from bodies born to be pushed into. And this tongue just gets me in trouble. Knocks against teeth, cradling vocal cords, pronouncing too many no's. I don't want to make it hard on you. Grow my hair out long because how else can you keep your balance? Show you my shoulders left, right? You tell me how smooth is enough. I will only remember your preferences. I will only order when you're ready. I don't want to make it hard on you. But I have a difficult time with patriarchy. I've never looked very good in aprons or lace. I cut my hair because I want you to call me boy. Because I want you to stop telling me what I want. Because I want you to consider that I can have power too. I remove my breasts because I never asked for them. Because my body only exists to nourish me. Because I am more visible to myself this way. But I don't want to make it hard on you. We live in such a difficult time when men like you are hashtag like I said, I've never been very good at patriarchy, at knowing my place, at biting my tongue, at being silenced. I guess I'm too much of a boy for that.
Let's thank Amy Herman. Black Market Translation.
Wow. You speak so powerfully, very, very, very powerfully, um, and I learned from your words. A phrase that well stays with me in this moment is um, we have our bodies to nourish ourselves. It's it could be on a flag maybe or a bumper sticker. I don't mean to disrespect the word with bumper sticker, but I mean it's just to have that spread widely into the consciousness of humanity that hey, whatever body parts we were born with, we are still born with a heart that nourishes ourselves, a bloodstream that provides oxygen for ourselves. We're not. Well, now I know I'm talking too much because I want to. Uh, could someone turn what I'm saying into a question for me? A question, maybe something pithy, a little funny.
What do you do to nourish yourself then?
I masturbate.
How wonderful. I do too. And I've never said that in front of a room full of people. Can we hear it from
Raise your
masturbation?
hand.
No, it's like we're born into a river, and the river flows, and we didn't create the river, and so how do you, I don't know, turn the boat around, the ship around? You're swimming in the, if you'll accept my metaphor, you don't have to.
Am I the ship? Am I turning myself around?
Well,
Like a
no,
water.
we're born into all these prejudices. You know, I'm so moved by your poem that I'm not making complete sentences. What question would you like to ask yourself? What shows do you have coming up?
I've got Queer Art Organics open mic this Sunday at Junkyard Social Club.
All right. And you did a variety show last night at the
That's right,
at the
yeah.
Trident.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you manage your shows in your life? Like do you have a goal that you're going to do X number of shows per month, per year, or how do your shows come about?
I've got 3 a month right now. It's medicine, so we all have our day jobs. Some of us like our day jobs, a lot of us don't. So it's kind of nice to take that off and put on a microphone, be around other artists. So as you know, as all of us know who put on shows, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that the audience doesn't always see, but it's worth it. It's worth it. It doesn't feel like work.
Well, it's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
Performing or writing or making music or whatever the art form is that we're born to do.
Yes.
said, 3 shows a month strike me as very, very impressive. And I wonder, do you have a particular superpower that might, that where you go, well, of course I have the superpower, and that's why I can do 3 shows a
I
month.
would love to have a superpower. If anyone has an extra that you want to let me borrow, I'm open.
Oh, there's not a particular
I got
superpower.
Oh, I mean, does anyone have an extra one that you want to give away? I'll take whatever you've got.
Amy is the kindness soul in the
Big Crow.
that's a superpower right there.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. Thank you for saying that out loud. Someone said you're the kindest person.
Yes, and I pay that person. Thank you. We'll talk later.
Okay. Well, I'm feeling maybe we're approaching completing
Yes, okay.
this moment. I'm so happy that we got it together, that we were in touch for a while, and now we got it together. So
Thank you.
So thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being
for
here.
putting this on.
Well, thank you,
Black market translation. Our house band at Boulder tonight.
At least until Kimmel calls.
Our number is.
Who's this Kimmel guy?
Hat Geiger, you got nothing to worry about.
Okay. Hey, before I introduce our next guest artist, who you've actually already experienced,
I get to make jokes now, right?
Matt, you can do whatever you like here. I love you, and I love that you're here.
15 and bass solo?
Sick. Yeah.
Well, that could be reasonable.
No, nothing. Yes, you are.
Don't say that about my friend Matt Clifford. Don't you say that. Okay, to the program. Where do I go? Okay, as far as music, I would say something quiet and sort of overlapping sounds, and yeah, as if something watery maybe. Yeah, with a watery theme. Yeah, some moist notes of moistness. No, come on, water makes things grow. We want moisture. Okay. We begin. It was a dream, or it was some kind of time of day where the edges were softened. Maybe it was overcast. That time of day where things become kind of monochrome, shades of gray. Was it in a dream, or how awake was I? And we talk about those moments in between. It seemed like half the world was believing in in a villain. And half the world was believing in a savior. It seemed like half the world was saying, it's morning, it's sun up, it's sunrise, and half the world was saying, it's the end. The sun is going down, it's not coming up, it's the end. And how did it come to be that half the world could believe it was day? And how did it come to be that half the world could believe it was night? I want to believe in angels. I want to believe in the curve of history bending towards the light. I want to look up at the sky, whether it be full of stars or full of clouds. I want to look up at the sky and say, isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? Thank you. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce
Walk-up music, boys.
Matt Clifford.
All right, that's enough.
Anybody want to play bass? Anybody can do it. It's like literally one finger. Yeah, we mostly turn it down in the mix. Okay. I got an introductory piece. I've never actually read it in public for some reason. It's called Rich Cliff, Poor Matt, Stranger of the Good Enough. I'm Rich Cliff. Poor Matt is the guy who goes to work. But in this short story, the government has decided that everybody will get universal basic income, but you have to submit 12 poems a year. And so there's a poem filing season. Your poems are due by April 15th. And then after you submit your poems, the government will give you your UBI. But most people don't want to do poems, and so they still hire people to do poems. So Rich Cliff started a poem filing service. and poor Matt is an underground accountant who is so silly, but goes to work for him. So I'm just gonna read a page or two from that, and it's in a book that you can steal. Yes, I want music. Yeah, something silly, introductory. You know. You think it's all just going to reconcile? Aren't you getting too old for fairy tales? Rich Cliff was really on one ever since the humans, in some attempt to own themselves, elected an AI legislator that immediately implemented universal basic income for citizens who stay strong by submitting art returns where taxes had been. Do what life demands, stare into the void and show us what you saw. He was in business always and a poet once, but decided who wants to work that hard, so went into management and started his own preparation firm, Rich, Cliff, and the Marriott Associates, edited poems for the nervous and wrote new ones for those who didn't identify as words people, or the resistors who weren't going to let any damn government tell them to make art, and others who were just tired. They offered therapy to those who didn't know what to do with themselves anymore, and unpaid internships to those who refused therapy. There was a backlog of volunteers. At this rate, we are going to write something as good as bye. Tonight is the night of the big extension party, a celebration of the work that didn't get done. For tomorrow he would go on vacation. Rich Cliff was making a toast of everyone. My wife, strike furthermore, the real brains around this place. She was the most beautiful B student I ever copied off of, but damn if we didn't get published. She liked to show it off and had a face you wanted to look at. I always wanted to be looked at that way, and I swore to the Lord's grave when I first laid eyes on Strike Furthermore, one day people who look at each other like that would be working for me. Rich Cliff sees a number and tries to get higher. Then there's poor Matt, who wants to pay his taxes. Going around picking up Strike's poems for a fool like me, I keep asking him when's he gonna give up his idealistic accounting dreams and grow up and be an artist like the rest of us in the real world. Rich Cliff can get you a poem, no questions asked. Poor Matt is an underground accountant. He is proud, perplexed and pious, remembers where things were put last, could have been one of the great bean counters, but was born in the wrong generation and is prepared to wallow in obscurity. Poor Matt wouldn't even try to do poem. He can't figure out what makes them right, and insists his brain is just not symbolic, and that's how it works. The government tells him he is enough every month, but it doesn't seem like they're even qualified to do so. What do they know about the passions he privately pursues? Oh, what they know. And they want to help. Have you ever considered writing poems about accounting? Maybe you could get a bunch of other accountants together every full moon at midnight, and y'all have a credit, and y'all have a debit, and walk home feeling balanced. The government provides a list of conducive venues and alleys, and will help you advertise the first month of any new project. Everybody reads their weekly newsletter, and most have the time to offer feedback. Poor Matt sits in the room and bored. Rich Cliff provides in the back for picking and filing. Strike Furthermore his deductible drop-ins, and catches up on his side practice, cooking books for the black market. A network of business-as-usual men storing away a savings for when all this radical kumbaya-ism comes to an end and some reforming is in order. We are the responsible squirrels you call nuts. We are the responsible squirrels you call nuts, poor Matt mutters blissfully to himself as he reconciles a lawyer's ledger to the very last penny of his bank account and carries the one all the way to the adjusted financial statements and remembers how the world works. How it used to work, at least until the two Palmers got here. Poor Matt's cooking is good and true and plain. Nothing to write home about, just the way some like it. You wouldn't call your kids a hobby. What smells so average in here? Poor Matt looked up from his flow to see Strike Furthermore's gallery flame hanging in the doorway. When the poets are oppressing you, call Rich Cliff. Need some bass. I've never got to come over here. Wow. You guys are a handsome lot. Hi, Ralph.
Hi. Matt, so a lot of people don't know that, may I say, that you are an accountant.
You can out me as an accountant.
Yes, yes. And I happen to know you know your stuff better than many accountants who don't play bass and have a punk rock fusion band, amazing. So, were you always writing and well, I can't imagine you weren't.
I was always
writing.
right.
You're always right. Yes, yes, we can see. Yeah. So when did you find out that you love music, you love writing, you love performing? Well, I'm making these assumptions. We know each other a number of years, and I've seen you perform and write and.
Last Thursday. I've been faking it, and I finally made it. But I guess, well, I went to Catholic school in the New Jersey suburbs, so we had all the nuns who like would make you write essays about like everything, and like I kind of liked it, and I thought I would write a mean 300-word essay for Sister Mary Immaculate, and my parents would sign off on it. Hopefully they're watching. Hi, Mom. Yeah, I always liked that. I used to make up like little songs and ditties and stuff when I was like younger, and then when I got to the sports playing age, I was designated a boy, so I played sports for about 10 years, very sub-adequately, and then my first performance in public was the Bergen Catholic High School Battle of the Bands in 2002, where State Unfair came in last place.
And the band that came in last place was that. Are you saying that's the band you were in?
If I've ever done your taxes, it's probably the band and the email address of the taxes. You can look us up on MySpace. I shit you not. We were like an emo thing. We were probably more we played with Hanson and stuff like that. We actually.
You gigged.
Yeah, like 5-6 years.
Oh wow.
We were like the only band from New Jersey in the emo era who didn't get a record deal.
That's so sad.
Yeah, My Chemical Coattails didn't extend to everybody.
Well, I'm not sure how to talk to you, man. Somehow I'm gonna go like this. I don't know why. I don't even know what to say.
You and the nuns. You and the nuns.
But actually, I did not know you went to Catholic school.
Oh yeah, all through college. I went to all boys Catholic high school. I went to a Catholic business school. I also went to Naropa, so like a total opposite thing. I think I might have been rebellious.
But how was it for you to have this Catholic education?
It gave me a very strong central operating system that I've yet to fully replace. It gives you discipline, I guess. I mean, like, if you don't get things done, like, you get in trouble. So I guess I don't know, try to get things done. Get it done.
Right, well, one thing.
But it's fine. Jesus is a cool guy. Jesus is just all right with me. And I'm named after Matthew, who was he was a gospel writer. He was a reformed tax collector who became he was the tax collector who became a socialist gospel writer and went through a little hippie thing following cult leaders around the desert. So I'm more of a mountain guy, but same thing. I'm also doing I'm rehearsing some stand up here.
So have you found your cult leader of the mountains to follow?
He's in Connecticut.
You're conducting interviews for applicants?
No, I don't believe in things enough anymore to like actually join a cult. That's like what keeps me out of cults is like I'm jaded enough by all the Catholicism and Buddhism and everything that like I'm probably I'm just not gonna really die for anything at this point. Sorry, you brave souls.
Well, it actually sounds healthy and reasonable. I don't know. But it just occurred to me in the past second. So you had all that Catholic upbringing, and then you went. Well, I don't know. Was there a break in time before going to Naropa?
Yeah, when I graduated, I did my undergraduate in accounting at Seton Hall University in New Jersey, and then I spent about 5 years I would work tax seasons and then like drive around in a van and sleep that stuff for about 4 or 5 years, and but then most of what I was doing was like going to watch bands and dive bars and being like, I want to be in a band again. So here we are.
So here we
My
are.
life in 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, we're happy you're in a band, and you're fun. Can we have a hand for the band?
They're very talented, very talented. They make me look much better than I actually am.
Oh. I'm not sure I like you talking about Matt Clifford that way. It seems a little too self-deprecating and disrespectful.
Go home, Rich Cliff. You're drunk.
Well, what was the adjustment for you? I don't know what to do with that line, so I'm just moving along.
That's a good idea, yeah.
What was the adjustment, if any, from having this strong Catholic, consistent upbringing and then going to Naropa, which doesn't Naropa describe itself as a Buddhist institution? So.
Yeah, I went to the write-in school, so that can be a little. Naropa has a lot of insular programs, especially once you get to the graduate level and the write-in part of it and everything. So I probably actually came more back to Catholicism at Naropa because you can kind of once you see past the bullshit that the church puts on top of it, there's actually some pretty nice things underneath it, and I was able to finally comprehend that Naropa of that. The Father, Son, Holy Spirit being the Trinity thing, there's a 1 + 1 = 3 quality to it that I think they never really taught fully there. That the spiritual and the material put together into a form of an actual something is a pretty powerful concept, and the church doesn't really go for that part of it. They really go for the feed the poor part of it. They go for the virgin birth weird stuff of it. And so but Naropa, it kind of gave me a little more inner resolve of what's going on in here is a good place to start and to bring it out rather than being out there and bringing it in here. And then once you do that, there's kind of you start to realize the things the Christian stuff that they put in that was actually pretty good that stuck around. You could use that as a starting point to kind of go out with. It's all in there, so there's no real point to try to expel it or something. 3 exorcisms later. No point. But no, I think it actually kind of helped. I don't know, I know the accountant part, the Catholic part. There is a sense on you kind of get over your own bullshit and get something done. So sometimes that helps because poets tend. It's very hard to finish things sometimes. To be the book is done. This is the book, and then put it out. So. Sometimes with tax returns, you're it's done, we're filing it, it's over. That was a lot of, I don't know.
No, but I think you gave us a journey of spirituality in about 2.5 minutes. And for those who could speed read or speed listen, I think you had a lot of profound concept in there. One of them, when you were describing or interpreting the Trinity, which I don't claim to comprehend, but you were talking about the spiritual and the material, and they kind of add up to something very powerful, or something maybe we're reaching for, grasping for, and
it's a beautiful concept. In the beginning was the Word, and then Jesus is the Word made flesh, and if you can live in a Christ-like consciousness, that's the spiritual being made real through your language, which is poetry.
Which is poetry. A few snaps of poetry. Wow.
It can ruin your life too.
but Matt, when you're talking about the spiritual and the material, here you are. You're a musician in a wonderful band that many of us here have had the honor and pleasure of jamming with or doing poetry with.
And if you haven't yet, I'm gonna book you.
Yeah, you were warned. And we're talking, for those who may not know, we're talking about a monthly event called Punketry. And you...
Tomorrow night at the Mutiny.
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
Oh my God, it's coming right up.
Indeed.
Okay, the Mutiny Cafe is in Denver.
It's in Englewood now.
Oh, Englewood. Oh, okay.
Denver didn't know how good it had it.
I know. to the material and the spiritual. So,
Aren't we always?
well, I see you almost as sort of an embodiment of that concept or that reaching for something. Not, I don't know, in between is the word, or reaching for some third something. Because here you're a musician, a poet, a writer, and you're also an accountant. You help people do their taxes. And what could be more of the material world than, getting your taxes done by April 15th or filing that extension on April 15th. So do you see yourself as kind of embodying these things?
I mean, they're all in my body, I guess. And so, like, I guess, I walk through the world with my body. It's as an accountant and poet. I think they both give you like with writing poetry, like it's actually like, when like you like write a poem and you're like, something's just off here, like, something's not, like the logic isn't going or the rhythm or something, so you kind of audit it and like you go and you look at it, and like when you do like a tax return, you're like, that bottom line's not right. There's no way Ira owes that much money. And so, and then you go and you look at every line and you kind of audit the content of every line. I mean, like taxes are just it's forms. Like they give you forms, Form 1040, and then they give you content, and then your clients give you content, and you mix the forms and the content into a finished document. And when you're an artist, you provide the content, and then you create the form into a finished document.
So a treatise in about a minute and 3/4 on how poetry and taxes are so similar to one another.
Except the poetry never balances.
Oh. Now you're blowing our mind.
No, but accountants never account for everything either. So we're just lessons in incompleteness.
Lessons in incompleteness. This is getting deeper than I'm able to handle. Right. But fabulous. Does anyone have a question for Matt?
It could be about taxes. And yes, I will do your taxes.
How do you file poetry?
How do you find poetry?
How do you file it? How do you convince the government to?
Man, I don't know. I saw the problem and I wrote it down and nothing changed. So I don't know. I'm all out of ideas. Oh, Joshua.
Can I file my day job as performance art?
I believe that's what we did on your taxes last year. Another satisfied customer.
Do you have another piece for us?
I certainly could. Yeah. I kind of wanted to do like a little experiment in like bibliomancy of I got all my books up here that I didn't display to be visible at all. I realized. But what would be great is if anybody wants to pick out any of the books and then give it to somebody else and open it to somewhere, and I'll read that one.
Oh, a bit of randomness.
Just all right. This is the one. Hey, boys. See what happens when I'm not here?
Why is the bass player slacking off?
Aren't they? I realized that the bassist is like the guilt-tripping mother of the band. Like, you'll miss me when I'm gone. You'll notice when I'm not here. poetry. If we don't change the world, it's not for lack of shouting. The populists are having a moment. Just are always having a moment. People seem to enjoy being yelled at when it isn't personal. It can be loud and articulate. It can be pop culture. Post-millennial, post-democracy, and like an algorithm, fun shot and studies in exchange for readings of reality's news data. Post-patron, post-parent, lead and peace these misunderstandings. Now I'm getting political. Is it necessary first to get beyond it? Is it possible? A little? Kinda? Did the police officer demand attention? How fast is my logic? There are so many humans misconnected from most, still with friends and well-wishers, too many to be deep. 6 gets to 9 billion. If you need a call to action, do I need to know you? You made decisions. I respect freedom. Maybe you found truth sooner. Maybe I am overthinking. Don't spoil the ending, and I will search in quiet. How many fucks do I have to give? 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 Enough to keep it going. Can I give you one? Can I have 2 of yours? Can we fuck? Get fucked? We are blind without mirrors, so have to compare. We don't have to check stumbles. The world is raw, mine, naked, frightful, dark, cold. It aches to have a soul. We are constantly failing together. Fail harder. We are constantly failing together. Fail harder. Fail harder. Chaos and hope and loss. Writing it down. Look what I found. Feelings. Please don't call it truth. Truth. Don't base it action. Options. Don't consider it freedom. Act like it anyway. Emotional defiance. I'm so overwhelmed with language. Don't know what to tell you. Pick something and do it. Bukowski, find what you love. Let it destroy you. Don't quote me on that. I get high and sarcastic, drunk and admonishing, sick to the guts. I am ego and I suck. I am futile and I am God. I may be honor roll and I know nothing. Why am I still talking when we are here to listen? I might be the only poet somebody knows. Poetry might not look like poetry. It might just be poetic. Poetry might not look like poetry. It might just be poetic. Poetry might not look like poetry. It might just be poetic. Poetry might not sound like music. It might just be poetic.
Clifford and Black Market Translation and Will Baumgartner and Amy Herman. And my name's Ira Liss. And I'm so delighted you got here. And you met Hector Munoz, our show's director. We have a jar that helps to support this show, and maybe it's not made its way around. But if you would like to support the show with cash, you may do so. We pay some rent to be here. It's not a have to; it's optional. We will be skipping December. We'll be back in January. It is possible that we may be at a different venue. We'll let you know. We do have a Facebook page, Boulder Tonight. So when we figure out if we will be at a different place, check out Facebook, Boulder Tonight, and you can find.
Also follow Black Market Translation. We'll post about it too.
Yes. You can look at Black Market Translation, Facebook, or Instagram, or Boulder Tonight. So, thank you everyone for being here. I used to do a slogan for the show. I mean, one is just celebrate creativity, and I think we're doing that tonight. Another is do what you love, do it forever. Do what you love, do it forever. Do what you love, do it forever, and celebrate creativity. Thank you, everyone.